friends, your favorite besties are back for another episode of No Ma'am. I'm your host, Willy Will, and this is my co-host.
Jhoany, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single episode of No Ma'am.
Well, today, friends, we are recapping all things episode 8 of RuPaul's Drag Race, season 17, and it is the Rusical challenge. But today, we are joined by a friend of the podcast, Corey of the Gardens.
Hi, dolls. Thank you so much for having me and for the Rusical episode, my specialty.
Yes. You know, it's so funny, right? So you sent us the invitation to Slut Bop, which is happening on Thursday, the way.
Yeah.
So at Red Eye. So make sure doors open at 8. The show starts at 8:30. Make sure you get your tickets because a portion of the proceeds actually goes to supporting the Ali Forney Center, which is great. Amazing cause.
Love them. If you don't know what the Ali Forney Center is, Ali Forney Center focuses on assisting unhoused queer youth, especially trans youth of color. So obviously right now, they need our help more than ever. And also just plugging the amazing Dev Doe is going to be my fairy slut mother for the night. And she's one of my favorite dolls in New York City. So I'm a huge fan of her. I'm so excited to work with her.
Yes, we love Dev Doe. And it's so funny because you sent us the invite and then Jhoany's like, why don't you ask Corey to be on the Rusical episode with us? And I was like, oh my God, such a smart idea.
Yeah, because a couple of weeks ago we were discussing who are we going to have on for what episodes, and specifically for this episode we wanted somebody who actually understood theater. Like we didn't just want to have any random person. We're like, we need somebody who actually understands what they're going to be talking about.
Right.
So when he sent me the link, and then I was like, wait, Corey,
perfect.
Like obviously, theater kid. Like let's go.
Perfect. Theater kid. I am, one of the whatever frowned upon BFA dolls. But, especially this episode is so layered with a chorus line references, and like my musical theater ass was geeking out. The people I was watching with didn't get a lick of what was happening, but like I knew all the nuances, everything. So I'm excited to break it down with you guys.
Yes, perfect.
Yes. Love that. All right, so let's get into the episode. So the beginning of the episode, it really starts off on the cusp of Crystal and V's elimination, and whom, like, obviously up to that point, she was strong competition. It's really funny because the girls are so sad. Everyone pretty much except Lydia. Lydia's like, good, we got the bitch out. Like, she's gone. And I was telling Jhoany the last episode, I'm like, Crystal and V's elimination was so random to me.
Yeah, I was gooped. I think we were all a little gooped over it. I was definitely expecting her to go further. Also, just like, I remember we were talking about this at Hardware, like judging from her social media, I just kind of assumed like she just seemed to be really like plugging everything, milking everything. She's obviously booked on a ton of gigs all over the United States. So I was just like, this bitch has to go far. So I was a little sad.
Right.
I was shocked.
Yeah. Yes, especially, and then I think that's a testament to some of the Drag Race fans who thinks like track records always matter, because up to that point she was either high in the top 2, right? She was doing really well, didn't have a win, but she was a strong contender in the competition. All right, so next, right, the next day, we see that Corey and Lydia are actually getting really close. And I think this is the time that we see them getting really close, like really, really close. Like Lydia's, like Corey's kind of like hunching Lydia at the workroom table right now. And I'm like, they real comfortable.
Like I was watching that and I'm like, girl, like we're not seeing what's going on under the table, but I'm pretty sure something is happening.
They're sneaking into each other's hotel rooms. And
definitely.
The bee and butthole.
Literally, yes. But it's crazy because obviously the Untucked of the previous episode, like they were talking about each other's types and whatnot. And so Lydia was like, she just likes someone who makes her feel really dainty. And Corey is a man. Like that's a man in and out of drag sometimes. Like in and out of drag sometimes. Corey King is a man. No shade to Corey, but Corey's tall. Corey's like muscular. So like I see it. I see the a little like warm embrace. So I'm not mad at Lydia. Listen, it's all great. And then
I just hope this showman's lasts. I like them together. Yes. I think they're cute. I hope this one lasts because they never do.
Yeah, no, I mean that's true. I mean, it looks like they are still going strong. We just did an interview that said that they're still dating, so that's really great.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, they're constantly like in each other's lives and whatnot. So yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah. Good for them.
They're like really serious. Yeah.
Cute.
And so we also see that Rue comes into the workroom and she lets the queens know that the Maxi Challenge will be the Wicked Wiz of Oz, Rusical, which is pretty much a Rusical based on 3 musicals. So you have The Wiz, you have The Wizard of Oz, and then obviously Wicked. But it's also in the style of a chorus line, which I'm not too sure if the girls got at first, but I do know that Susie and Sam picked up on it really quick when they was going through, like, to try to get the lines. So I was like, so they do know what a chorus line is.
Susie was definitely there to educate them. She was like, listen, this is the most classic, like musical theater it can get. And I mean, it was so fun just like watching it piece together and kind of like weave in and out of the Wizard of Oz and back to a chorus line. It was cute.
Yeah. So I mean, what I really enjoyed was the fact that it played on 3 different types of musicals with the Wizard of Oz, right? Obviously the Wiz, and then the iconic Wicked, right? The movie just came out. I'm more of a fan of the movie than I am of the play, but that's just me personally. I just think a lot of people kind of is on my side with that. And that doesn't take away from the fact that the play is amazing, but I like the movie a little bit more. But I thought it kind of catered to like 3 different types of theater gaze. So there's something in there for everyone. And then what I love about this episode, which is different from the other ones or like previous musicals, is that the girls get to choose the roles for themselves. I hate when the producers choose the roles for them because we don't get the shade. And if you're a fan of Drag Race, you love the shade. That's what we come here for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, anytime they choose the roles for them, I'm like, why? Like, I want to see the girls fight it out. Like they always do. When they get to choose the roles, there's always 2 queens that are gonna be fighting for one role. And I love that.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
anarchy of it all is so entertaining to watch. Yeah, it's why we're here. Especially seeing like, the MT dolls trying to duke it out for the biggest role is always hilarious to watch. And just
Right.
so it's fun seeing who wins.
But in this season, it doesn't seem like the girls want the big roles though. Like in other seasons, like they wanted the starring roles. They wanted the ones who's going to be front and center. But this one, it seems like they are literally taking a back seat. What do we think about that? I'm a little confused.
I don't know, because there's 2 roles in particular that I was confused that nobody fought people for, which was Harlem Dorothy and the Wicked Witch. Like those roles were made to be the starring role. And like when Sam and Anya were like, "Oh, I want this role, I want this role," they're like, "Yeah, okay, cool." Like nobody fought them for those roles. Seasons ago, people would be like, "No, I want that role. That's the starring role. That's the role that I want." So I don't know. I think maybe they're scared a little, or maybe they didn't realize there was a starring role.
I think too, like we had kind of a lot of them who are really eager for like the clear safe tracks,
Yeah.
like the Scarecrow, Tin Man, like, and then the monkeys. Like I think we had some people who were obviously a little scared. The Rusical can be daunting, especially if you're not a singer, and they were singing live, obviously heavily auto-tuned. But so I think they were just kind of like a lot of them wanted the safe route because they didn't want to be in those like vulnerable positions. But I agree, it was weird too that also like they were, we had them fighting for Kansas Dorothy, and ultimately I didn't think that part was that good.
It wasn't. I'm sorry, it was boring.
The song was so boring. So I was just like, why are you guys fighting over this? Like, I mean, thank God Susie got, the Wicked Witch of the West because that was super entertaining. And yeah, thank God Sam Starr got the Cher track because that was super entertaining and something different. Like it shook it up, which I always think is such. If you're not going to be like one of the lead pivotal roles, at least be one of the roles that like comes in and is kind of like its own thing and you have your own 2 minutes to shine.
Be the Black China.
Yes, exactly. Be
Or
the
the
Black
Oprah.
China you wish to see in the world.
Or
On the Oprah with Silky, yes, on the Oprah part. But yeah, I mean, Corey, to your point that they were going up for Kansas Dorothy. And to me, I'm like, with Susie's, like, theater background, her, like, she loves musical theater. It is something that she said she's really confident about. I didn't think that Kansas Dorothy would have been the part, like, for Susie.
Right. And who
She came in at the
knows?
end.
Yeah. I mean, if it was a better singer, no shade to Acacia, but Acacia forgot the vocals were bad. So who knows? It could have been better if it was a better vocalist, and they could have riffed, made it their own, stylized it. But like ultimately, the song was a very slow ballad. It didn't really like go anywhere. So I was just kind of like, surprised that they were duking it out for that.
I think maybe they thought it was gonna be like a Anitra moment, where like she kind of had that ballad and she had her
Yeah.
moment to shine and she was praised for it. But Anitra did it really well. She put her own twist on it. She emoted really well. Like she really made you feel the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Akasha stood
I
up
cried.
there and like I was like yawning.
It was,
Yeah.
she might have been rolled in on a mattress because it was snoozeville. Like, it was so boring. And I'm sorry, but like, especially if you're going to duke it out for that role, like, and then, when we see the raw footage of them recording the vocals, like, it is so painful. It's so painful to hear. And so it's just kind of like, okay, this is the track you fought for, girl. You're going to fly or die.
See,
Yeah.
these are the moments I kind of live for, like when girls fight for a role tooth and nail, and then they get it and they flop. Like I just love that. I love that. I know it sounds kind of bad, but I just think it makes really good TV.
It
Oh,
is.
that's the whole point. It's great TV.
Like,
But
Yeah.
then we
minor
also saw
Delulu.
that, right, we love the Delulus. But we also saw that Jules Sparkles and Corey King were going up for the Good Witch. And to me, in my opinion, the reason why Corey wanted the Good Witch is because the Good Witch had body. But that was the only thing that she said that she was bringing to the table was that, oh, I have body. And the judges have been praising me on the body, or on my body. But the Good Witch is Jules. That's who I think of when I think of the Good Witch. I think of Ariana Grande from Wicked, Galinda, that's who I think, and Jules. It made sense to me. I honestly couldn't see Corey as the Good Witch.
Same. Thank God Jules won that battle because she was so entertaining to watch. I thought she really stood out in such a good comedic way. Even though she wasn't super confident with her vocals, it didn't matter for that track. So it was just so entertaining. And we love a nip slip. It was just so good. And she's one to watch for me. I think she's so likable and we've really kind of seen her come out of her shell and she's consistent.
Yeah, that nip slip had me dying the whole way through. Like I was dying. I was living for it. But some tea that she revealed, I think was like a couple days ago. Like obviously that nip slip was not intentional. So when they did the first round, and as soon as she got off the stage, she was like yelling at the people in the backstage, like, "This is not my fault. Like this is not my costume. It doesn't fit properly. Like fix it, because I did not just have the snip slip happen." So they stapled it. They stapled her dress to like the breastplate. And then on the second go around, it started to leak all over the dress. So obviously they didn't use that cut. They just completely cut it out. But when she was finished, she said she was like covered in goo from the breastplate because they had stapled it to the dress.
Not breastplate goo.
Yeah, but like she thought she was gonna go home because like in the moment she's like, "I'm going home. I'm going home. I'm going home." I mean, obviously that didn't happen. Like they praised her for
Right.
it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like it must suck. Like at that moment, like she really probably thought she was
Yeah.
gonna go home.
Wow.
I mean, no shade. We're going to get into the actual, Rusical, but, the performances. But no shade. I thought the nip slip was perfect. In my opinion.
Funny. It's funny.
It was iconic.
It made it. Yeah.
But let's talk about this rehearsals. Because there was a few things in the rehearsal piece that I thought was funny. The first thing I do want to talk about is the fact that Lana, this journey with Lana is hilarious to me because she went from wanting judges' critiques to getting shaded by the judges left and right, and they just keep coming for her like pew 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 pew. So Lana's like,
Careful what you
I'm
wish
so
for.
happy I'm able to showcase, and Michelle is like, girl, you was gonna go home. I'm just baffled at them keep coming for Lana and her face cracks.
That was crazy. That was nuts. Again, the Delulu, I think sometimes these girls are in captivity, literally. So I think just sometimes, and you also see this is around the point when you start to see who it kind of affects mentally more so than others and who's taking themselves too seriously and who's just kind of having more fun with it. And I think, yeah, Alana is definitely, she's taking herself very seriously.
Yes.
And so I kind of want them to say what they said to Sam, just snap out of it a bit, have more fun with it.
Yeah.
Wake up, pro.
Yeah. So I have something on my face. Very much that. And then Acacia. We have to, I know we talked about Acacia a little bit, but we got to throw a little shade at Acacia because she has said to all of us, millions of Americans, that she is the live singer. that's gonna win Drag Race. And the
And like
vocals.
to quote Corey, Delulu.
The Lulu Magugu. I mean, she sang live for her talent show comp, and that put her in the bottoms. I mean, I get props to her for really wanting to go for it, and have like kind of like a risky, vocal heavy track. But it's also like you gotta deliver if you're gonna take that role. And it was just bad, especially like, yeah, seeing her laid down the track was really rough because
Yeah.
they're gonna auto tune the shit out of it, but it was bad.
Yeah.
Girl, I don't have any musical bone in my body, and I was there like, ooh, like this is hurting my ears. Like this is
Right.
bad, girl.
Yeah.
Like you in danger, girl.
Yeah, I mean, and the editing was really shady because you can tell that they try to edit as if like Susie's looking at her like laughing, but Acacia's literally next to Susie when Susie's laughing at whoever like Susie's smiling at. But the producers and the edits they're the villain. That's the real villain of the season. It's the
Yes.
producers.
Every season, yeah.
Right. All right. So now let's get into the Rusical. My question is, what do we think of the Rusical overall? How was it?
I feel like the last few seasons we've been kind of spoiled and have had a string of like good musicals. Because I feel like prior like to like season 14, 13, 14, 14 and on, I think we've had really good musicals. Before that, they were kind of bad, honestly. But like they've been getting better and better. I thought this was a really solid one. It was not my favorite, but I thought it was really cute and entertaining. And I think for the most part, most of the parts were written well. Because there's always some parts that are kind of like, but I feel like this one, for the most part, most of the parts were written really well.
Except
I
for Monkey number
agree.
2.
Except,
Monkey number 2. That one.
so
That
yeah,
was
Agree.
yeah.
again,
Yeah.
most parts.
I also did like it, and obviously being like a fan of classical musical theater, like, I loved all the chorus line references. That being said, I felt like it tried to do a lot in such a little time, trying to touch upon Wicked, Wizard of Oz, The Wiz, and then also squeeze in this like a chorus line kind of trajectory was it was a lot, which I mean, it's Drag Race. Of course it's going to be a lot, which is great. I guess the chorus line aspect of it to me was like a little random,
Mm-hmm.
and it gave it some more color, of course, but it was just like having come off right off of the like Wicked movie release. It's like, why didn't they do it like in the style of Wicked? Like, I guess I was just kind of like, that's a choice to also put like this a chorus line spin
Yeah.
while also trying to hit all three of the major like Wizard of Oz shows.
Yeah.
It
No,
was
I agree because it was giving like obviously Kansas Dorothy was giving to me like Cassie, right? Like Zach.
Mhm.
Like I like Zach, I want to dance.
Exactly.
Zach, I want to dance. And obviously then you have Michelle trying to be like a really like aggressive Zach and like, girl, go somewhere. Like, bye, get out of my face. So you had that, but also she was trying to be Kansas Dorothy from like The Wizard of Oz.
Right.
So it was that piece. And then you had the elements of like obviously the Diana Ross character. Then you had the Cher character, which was odd but very Drag Race of a Rusical. Right?
Like, why not?
So you gotta take
Why
yourself like out of like the actual like thinking about the movies or the plays and think this is Drag Race, this is RuPaul. She just wants Cher and Diana Ross because she can. But I agree with Jhoany. I think these last couple of seasons, like it started with Moulin Rouge, right? And then it went to, what was that, Wig Loose? And then it had like The Sound of Rusic. And then obviously this one. I think these last couple of like Rusicals was great. But then we also had the All Stars 9 Rusical with the Monsters.
That's one of my favorite ones because I'm a huge horror movie fan. So I was geeking out the whole time, like watching them come out as these monsters. I think who's been writing them? Has it still been Leland?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because didn't they introduce the like person who was helping them recording? So I was like, is that the person who wrote it? They didn't mention Leland, but I didn't look at the credits. But there were some bops. Like there were
No,
actually some really good, like well-written songs that kind of stuck with me. And especially like the ones that did hit for the chorus line references, like at least for me, like you got it. Like, yeah, you got that immediately. It was Cassie as Kansas Dorothy. You got the
Mhm.
Morales character for the Wicked Witch. You got the like brother and sister with the sister who can't sing for the monkeys. So like for me, it was really fun like recognizing all of that. I do feel though like I'm like, what is the Drag Race population who like understood those references? Because
Probably
again, it was
none.
just very layered. It was dense.
Probably none.
Probably
Probably none.
like 10%.
Right. Because I'm sure people were like, what is this? Like, what are we doing?
I mean, I was watching at a house party. I was telling you well earlier, like I was watching at a house party and I was just like, oh my God, that's the Morales character. Oh my God, that's Sheila. And like no one understood what I was saying. People were looking at me like I was crazy, which I am,
Right.
but like not in a good way.
Yes. So who were some of your standouts?
I mean, I think it's the same for everyone. Like everyone has the same for Susie, Sam, Jules, and
Anya.
Anya. Sorry,
Yeah.
listen, I'm horrible with names, but they all stood out for me for very different reasons. Like for me, Susie's was very like for me felt the most like you would see on an actual like Broadway stage. But I think it just could have maybe used a little bit more dragging up or a little bit more fun. Sam obviously came in with like out of nowhere and just killed it. Very professional, very well done. Was very funny. Like that unintentional nip slip really worked with the character. My favorite was Anya because I was just smiling the whole way through. Like through her whole performance, I was just smiling. Like it just made me feel very. It just made me feel joyous. Like I don't know, she sounded really good. She danced really well. She looked good. Like she commanded that stage really well, and I was just smiling the whole way through her performance.
I definitely agree. I think for me too, like being a vocalist, like I think the ones with the clearest like raw vocals were definitely Anya and Susie. Like for different reasons, Anya was obviously really poppy and soulful, and Susie was definitely more like musical theater, but it fit each of those characters well. I also got to say, I really like the like trio of the Tin Man, Scarecrow, and the Lion. Like their song was actually really cute, and I thought that was like one of my favorite parts of it. And obviously those were, like I said, like the safe tracks because, you're not having your standalone like featured solo moment, but they worked really well together. Like their choreo was pretty tight, but they were also kind of rooted in each of their characters. So like I know they were safe this episode, but I gotta give them props because I thought that was like one of my favorite parts of the show. And that song was really catchy and really fun.
Yeah. And I mean, they did a 3-part harmony. Like, they all had to be, like, in unison, which I thought that was, and each of them have a different voice, right?
Mhm.
They're very unique characters. And so the fact that they were all, like, in, like, kind of coming together and they harmonized, I thought that was great. My standout was Sam Star. For some reason, I just love that she just barged into the whole entire thing and kind of, like, changed up the flow really quick. And they were spinning her around. Like, she was flipping. She was doing so much random things. But yet, the song to me, Twister, is so catchy. Like, I was like, this is so catchy. And the fact that after the Rusical, I had to go watch Burlesque again because she was just giving me share from Burlesque. And I was like, I needed
Yes.
to get my life. Like, that's how much I was like, yes. And then Anya's character, like, that moment felt very musical theater.
Mhm.
Like, I felt like I was watching The Wiz all over again. And which was great. So
Totally.
it kind of channeled something. I think the lighting was different. Everything just felt different. And it did remind me of the black guy on the chorus line because he was
Yeah,
the
the
only black
Richie.
one.
Yeah,
Yes.
I
He was
agree.
the only black guy in front of everyone else was white. And right, and then he had a moment where he's like super happy to be there, and this is his moment to shine. And so he was going to do everything in that one little number, and then he was going to make impact. And that's kind of what I thought like Anya was giving me in that moment there. So that was good. All right, so then we had the monkeys. Now, no shade, but like Lydia did way better than Corey as a monkey. And I know that's kind of hard because they were both monkeys, but Lydia was in character the whole entire time. Like I saw myself looking at Lydia and she was like low to the floor as a monkey.
I mean, Lydia was definitely the better of the pair. Like, I felt like she was more committed to the role than Corey was. But also, like you said earlier, I feel like Corey's was probably the worst written part. But, like, even when you got the worst part, you could still do a lot to kind of elevate it and make it your own and make it stand out. I don't feel
Yeah.
like she really did that.
I mean, true. Yeah. She's also really tall too, so it would have been, I think, a drastic contrast to see her try to get as low as Lydia, because Lydia's a little shorter, so it might have been a little easier for her.
But it also could have been really funny.
True.
Well, that's also
Yeah,
true.
I do just think that was the toughest song, like writing wise. And I do feel for Corey in a way because obviously she didn't want that part, which I get because I don't think too it like played to her strengths very well. But Yeah, that was just a little bit like that one was a very, very direct correlation to like the song in a chorus line. And so I also think like if you didn't understand what that song was referencing, then it was just like even more random.
Yeah.
And that's also not like one of the best songs from a chorus line. So I was just kind of like, why are we doing this one?
Yeah.
But
no, it's all true.
yeah.
Yeah.
But she
No, but I
definitely
mean,
did
I
not
think
understand the reference when she was doing it.
no. But Lydia did though. Lydia got it, but Corey did not. And I
Well,
would
she
think
could have
if
helped her
like they're
boyfriend
like,
out a little bit.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
Girl,
that's
that's
what
a
I'm
man.
saying. Right.
She helped him
Well,
out
her
enough.
sister. It's like, right. It's like her man, but her sister. It was a lot because it was like, girl, didn't you call your girlfriend like your boyfriend, girl? Like it was a lot in the little thing, and I
Sister
was like,
dick
this
will
is a
make you
lot.
sick.
Right, like this is a lot that's going on. But I think we could all agree that this Rusical was a strong Rusical. The ones that stood out was the ones that stood out. I think it made judging a little easier. Like I don't think there was anything that was shocking when we get to the actual judging of the Rusical. Like we kind of knew who the tops were, who was like a little bit not the greatest, and then who were kind of the safe ones. So let us get into the looks. So now for us, we always give, so this is how we kind of judge the looks. So we give yes ma'ams if it's yes ma'am. If we love the look, if we thought it was great, fit the category, it's yes ma'am. We give a meh ma'am if it's not bad, but it's not good, right? Then it's a no ma'am because if it's giving no ma'am, like you know that it's no ma'am.
That's a boot.
And then it's literally like a boot. It's our version of a boot. And then our version of a shoot is over. So like if this left you speechless, if it's like it's way better than yes ma'am, and you have to keep talking about it, like you're dreaming about it because it was so good, then it's an over. So that's kind of how we like judge the girls. So
Love it.
up next, up first, we have Susie Toot. So Susie Toot was in that monochromatic, like beige look. It was like bejeweled, very showgirl-esque to me, but like the leotard. I gave it a yes, ma'am, because I thought it was a cute, but it was a very soft yes, because I also thought it was safe, and I wanted something more from Susie.
I agree with you. Like I wanted it. It was a cute look, but I felt like it was very basic, especially compared to the other girls on the stage. Like when you look at all of them, you're like, this is kind of underwhelming. It was good, but I wanted something more from Susie.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm going to give it a soft yes, ma'am. I do like what Rue had to say, though, about like that being her color blonde. I do agree with that. Like it did look really good on her skin. And I know that was just very interesting. So I did like the style of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was expecting a little bit more from Susie. I don't know. I think, right, like, I was like, okay, maybe she's going to bring something to the Parasol runway, but I don't think it was a bad look. I just think it was a very safe look for her.
I think it was very on brand for Susie, though.
Okay, I can see that. All right.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Jules Sparkles. So she was in that all black dress, and obviously she had the black parasol. It was giving very dark. And I don't know about y'all, but lately, like in the first parts, like the first couple of episodes, Jules is very like bubbly, like pink and like girly colors. And so far, these last couple of runways, she's gotten real dark.
Yeah, I love her. I love it. I like she's showing some real versatility on the runway, which we live for. And obviously the judges live for it too. I thought this looked really good. Like it was very dramatic, very gothic. It was a yes man for me. I love this look. It reminded me also kind of a lot of there was this look that Jan did on her All-Star season. It kind of reminded me of that in a good way. Like it wasn't like a copy or anything or like an influence, but it just kind of reminisced me of that. And like I love that look too. So for me, this was an absolute yes, ma'am.
I'm going to give it also like a soft yes, ma'am. It is nice seeing this kind of like more well-rounded Jules Sparkle. So I do like kind of seeing these also like darker things that she's bringing to the runway. Definitely a nice twist.
I gave it a yes, ma'am, too. And that's, for me, like, the more I got close up, like, on the runway, you got to see all the details. And so that's the only thing that's hard about a black dress, is that sometimes all the details doesn't read. So you have to make sure that you're really intentional with all the details in a black dress. But they had a black parasol with all the jewels on there, right? But everything was black. But I just thought, regardless of that piece, I thought she did really well. So And we all know that her drag mom is not going to let her come out the house looking all type of crazy. So Chantel Sparkles is not having that. Next up, we have Arietti. Now, Arietti, to me, there has been a through line with Arietti's looks. So her gowns have all, to me, have this like red and black, with the exception of obviously the ball challenge. But for the most part, she's having that color palette with that red and black, which is very like Mexican of her, right, Jhoany? Like she has that, which is good, and she's really just showcasing her culture and her heritage. And I thought this look, yes, ma'am, Arietti is the look queen, so it's gonna be really hard for me to be like not like one of her looks.
Yeah, no, this was like this would have been an over for me had the parasol been bigger. I felt like it was too small,
Okay,
especially for that dress she was wearing, like with these big ruffles, which looked beautiful. Her hair was stunning, but I just felt like that teeny tiny umbrella did her no favors. Like if it was bigger and added more drama, I think it would have been an over for me. But she looks stunning nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, Arietti's always going to be a yes ma'am on the runway. Like, to be honest, I think that's why she was saved. I think, honestly, the producers were like, they probably
This is
saw
all.
the package of looks that she brought and was like, we need to show this. Like, this is money. So she's always going to bring it to the runway. Like, that's clear. I'm not sure if you guys saw, though, that quick note. Crystal Envy had like a very similar aesthetic for her look. She posted it on her Insta and it was like very similar. So I was just kind of like, ooh, we missed out on y'all like kind of copying each other.
Would have been
yes. Crystal
interesting.
Envy did have
Yeah.
that vampire look though, which I thought the look looked good. Like the photos that she posted, I was like, wow,
Yeah.
I enjoyed the little vampire look, which
And
seemed to
that
be like
makes
a running
sense.
theme with this parasol look.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, and that makes sense for a parasol runway. Like, obviously, a vampire is not going to be want to be out in the sun, so apparel works perfect for that. I love when queens can add a story to the runway and execute it really well. I would have loved to see that on the runway. Unfortunately, we didn't.
I know. Yeah.
It would have been really fun to see.
But you can see the photos on her Instagram.
I
So
know, but like, it's not the same as watching it walked on the runway.
Right.
true. That's so true. And next up, we had Lexi Love. So now I'm going to tell you, when I don't think I was actually fully paying attention to the look when it first came down the runway the first time, because I didn't know that the stick was not attached to the top until I watched it the second time. And when I say, like, I gay gasp when I saw it, and I was like, Lexi, you better bitch. Like this was to me was amazing. This was my over. I gave Lexi an over for this look because I thought everything just looked right. She came and she did that lean back. And if you know anything about me, you know I love when a queen goes on that runway and does that nice lean into it. It's just it just gives me everything I need. And the white hair, everything was great. So this was an over. Over.
It was a yes man for me. I appreciated that she did something different. It's a really good look. Just some minor details I would have liked a little better. Like, I like the Schiaparelli references. I just wish there was more like metal pieces on it, or maybe like it had been bigger. Like maybe the whole bodice would have been metallic. I thought would have been better, and I absolutely would have loved if that bow would have been like really big. Like I would have loved that, like very dramatic bow, like that wrapped around her head. I would have loved that, and I think that would have made it an over. She looked beautiful, amazing look. I just think there could have been a couple more details that would have really elevated the look.
Definitely also a yes ma'am for me. I mean, what you were saying, well, I love Lexi on the runway. Like she can just work it. She's so like sultry. She knows how to turn it on. And let's be real, like she has such a model body. Like her lines are always just so stunning. I could just watch her like walk a runway back and forth. She can sell any garment.
Yeah. Yes.
Even one that was spray painted.
Incorrectly. Yeah.
I mean, we want to talk about spray paint. It did help the look, though. I'm just saying, it kind of helped the look.
She sold it though.
But
She sold it. She sold it. It was.
she did.
It was
She
couture.
did. She did. She really did. Next up, we have Sam Starr. So now this look has been causing a lot of controversy online. So obviously, if you've been following the Twitterverse or like the Instagram of it all, this is Trinity's look, right? This was Trinity's dress that Sam reimagined and kind of like had elements, like kind of changed it up a little bit to fit her style. But this was Trinity's dress at first. And so people are upset because they're like, oh, there's no originality to the dress. But no shade, there doesn't need to be any originality. This dress is amazing. Like, this dress looks so good. This was my second over, and obviously I'm a Sam Starr stan, so I had to. But I just thought everything fit. I love pageant drag. for me, pageant drag is all about like polish and just perfection. So there is like a story with everything. So there's an intention, right? She had with the wig, right? Her signature updo with the ornaments and the appliques in her hair that match the appliques on the dress with the everything just fits. So I can go on and on about Samantha, but Samantha, you already know it's what it is over here.
Yeah, no, it was a yes, not a yes, man. It was an over for me too. Like this look was beautiful. And you know this dress was expensive. So what if she took it from her mother? Like this shit costs like at least $10,000. Of course I'm gonna reuse it. Like hello. Like this is an expensive look. Like it's jeweled so perfectly. I love how the parasol really matches the dress. She looks stunning. Like you said, the hair is like flawless. It's like a work of art. Like she always looks beautiful coming down the runway. And people need to stop hating.
Literally, they need to.
And like sorry, I was gonna say, like, where was this last week when she also used one of Trinity's looks?
That's
Like,
true.
why are you mad now?
Right. Yeah.
I don't really mind. I kind of love seeing like a garment passed down, from like mother to daughter. Let's reduce, reuse, recycle Rihanna. Like, I love seeing it on a different person. And yeah, especially like just with her own styling, that wig was perfection. Definitely an OVA for me. I feel like Sam is right up there with Arietti in terms of runways. Like, you can just tell they are putting money and time into their looks. And like, it's always going to be exciting to see what they turn the corner in.
Yeah. I also think in this time, right, obviously with this administration, if you have really strong drag families, I just think they all need to stick together and help each other out, right? So like, obviously, Trinity is going to help Sam in some aspects with like garments and some tips and tricks, but this is still Sam's like opportunity on Drag Race. Like Sam has to sell the garments. It doesn't matter. Trinity's dress could be $10,000, all of like if that's what it is, but it could be Sam could just be walking and like, oh, whatever, like playing on the runway. Like it wouldn't bring the same emotion, but Sam is bringing it on the runway. So like, this is Sam. And I think some of the fans could be a little toxic and a little annoying sometimes. Like the comments, they need to relax.
Yeah. Another thing for me is like, it's also not like Trinity wore this on the runway. So like, why are you guys freaking out? Like, you haven't actually seen this dress on the runway, so calm down. Like, if somebody hadn't dug it up from the internet, like, you wouldn't have known that this was a reused dress.
I don't know. Until you told me. And like, I don't care.
Right. I'm like, the dress is great. Right. Like, I don't see them going up for Lana and she had Lux's wig on and she said that. She's like, I took Lux's wig from her runway. Like, nobody is going up for Lana and making like a big mess about it. But I don't know. Sometimes these fans are a mess. But next we have Lydia Butthole Collins. And I never thought I was going to say this on No Ma'am. But this was a yes ma'am for me. This is Lydia's first yes ma'am that she got from me. And I'm so excited for Lydia with this. But I hated that thing on her head. Like, I just wish that she would just stop putting stuff like random shit on her face and show her like gorgeous mug.
For me, this was a meh because of that thing on her head. I thought the rest was good. It was beautiful. I liked that she had a different shaped parasol than everyone else. But I hated that thing on her head. Maybe because it reminded me of like a spider and I fucking hate spiders.
You know I have arachnophobia, so yes.
Same. So I was like, ugh. And like you said, it covered her face. Like, why do you keep covering your face, girl? Like, it made no sense to me. Had it not been for the headpiece, I think it would have been yes, ma'am.
I kind of agree. It might be like in between a ma'am, maybe a soft yes, ma'am. Definitely at least that she gives us something different with the headpiece. Like, I'll take that. And yeah, kind of like to speaking what you guys were saying about, I would have loved to seen someone just like with a giant parasol, like taking up the runway or like really making that the entire dress. I don't know. I felt like it was a little bit of a missed opportunity, but I appreciate Lydia's like originality. So it's a different silhouette. So I like it.
Yeah, I think if somebody had came down the runway with like the dress as the parasol, I think that would have been really good. I think that would have been amazing actually. It's a missed opportunity, but
yeah.
Oh well.
They can only pack so much. They only get so much space.
True. Yeah. Next up we had Corey King. And so I thought it was very ironic that she came out as Dorothy. And literally having the Rusical. Like, but with all that aside, I thought this was the best Corey has looked so far on the runway. Like, and so I gave Corey a yes, ma'am. So this is also the first yes man that I've gave Corey because I'm in the club of Corey has got to go. Like that is that's my club. I may be one of the presidents, maybe the vice presidents of the Corey has got to go club because I'm
Founding
over it.
father.
Like I'm over it. But because Corey has so much personality, I just want to see that translated to Drag Race. But I said this to Jhoany on a previous episode, I think Corey is going to be one of those queens that don't do so well on Drag Race, but after the show, it's going to be amazing.
Agreed.
Like TV shows, podcasts, we're going to be falling in love with Corey because that is what Corey does. But Drag Race may just not be like what Corey is like naturally good at. So, with that said, I thought it was a yes, ma'am. I thought she looked good. I liked the ginger hair that she had. I agree with Rue. I thought that was her color.
I agree with that. I really like the color of the hair. I don't like the styling of the hair. I didn't really like the two puffs on her head. I will give her a yes, ma'am. Just because she's probably going to go home soon and she deserves one at least. So before she goes, she should get at least one. And we don't know if she's going to look good next week, so might as well be this one.
You never know. We could get a French mime again. You never know.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a yes man for me because, like, I don't know, her body's always right. Like, her padding
Always.
is mwah, chef's kiss. I love just, like, Rue loves Dorothy Wizard of Oz reference. So, and it was just so funny that it matched up with the Rusical. And then I love that little stupid Wendy's wig. I'll take a
Same.
Bosky to go back to Oz. Like, it
I
just
thought it was great.
it was so weird. I feel like on anyone else it'd be like, what? But on her it was like, yeah, sure.
Yes, I agree. I thought it was good. Next up, we had Anya Nerves. So now, this look was a little different for me. I gave it a soft yes, ma'am, because I gave it for originality. I thought it took a different approach from everybody else's looks. And that is something I have to give Anya credit for, is that sometimes she swings big. Sometimes it hits, sometimes it does not, right? Like we've seen some questionable choices from Anya on the runway, but she always tries to be original. And so I have to give her credit for that. And I thought she looked good. So would I have liked maybe a different fabric? Maybe a different silhouette, but something was off on it to me, in my opinion, but I still give it a yes, man.
I don't like the parasol. Like it feels very like I think it's the material of the parasol looks very kind of like an old parasol that maybe she found in a garbage can. Like just like the bare bones of it. I don't know. I think it's just the material. What I do like, and we were actually just kind of bring this up, and I didn't even remember it until I'm looking at the picture now. Like the actual bodice kind of looks like a parasol itself. So I do appreciate the originality. So it will be a very soft yes, ma'am. I love this color on her. Like yellow looks so good on her.
So
But I really don't like that parasol. Looks cheap.
yeah, I do agree looking back on the parasol, hearing what you mean. I do like I was gonna echo the color, this color on her. It's a yes, ma'am. And also it just brought something like bright and sunny to the runway when we got a lot of people who were doing like dark, vampiric, black, So it just kind of shook it up for me. And yeah, this color on her, so good.
It was good. Yes. Gotta give it to Anya. She knows how to stand out, which is great. And that's a hard thing to do. Not everybody knows how to stand out in a good way. People know how to stand out in bad ways, but not so much in a good way. Next up, we had Acacia Forgot. So now I'm torn on this look. I still give it a yes, ma'am. But I wanted the elements to be different. And the reason why I said that is she said, like when she was walking down the runway, that she was in a Dior inspired dress. And I'm like, bitch, if you're gonna give me Dior, give me Gigi Good. Give me that. When Gigi Gigi came out on that runway with that Dior inspired dress.
Like if you're gonna give Dior, give the classic Dior silhouette that Dior is literally known for.
Right.
I think had she given that, this look would have been like insanely good.
Right.
I like it from the waist. Like I love those multiple like wigs, multiple like parasols on her head. I don't like the skirt at all. It looks very flat. It's wrinkly. Like I don't like it.
I agree.
Very soft, yes, ma'am. Very soft, yes, ma'am.
From the head down, it's a no, ma'am. But the wig boots her up to a meh, ma'am, because the wig is a yes, ma'am. So they balance each other out. Because that wig was great. Like, and the fact that the parasol's in the wig and the way she used it too. I mean, we'll talk about the lip sync, but the way she kind of like, you saw how it came apart. That was really cool. So that bumped her up for me, but the rest of the look, no, ma'am.
Yes, I mean lately Acacia, like in the first half of the of the season, Acacia's look was no ma'am. Like her looks were, we were like no. And then lately, like in these runways, she's been coming into her own. And in my head, I'm like, do they normally do that when they're about to go home? Like I feel that way. Like sometimes I think the girls always they get better when we're like, oh my gosh, yes, we're rooting for you,
They
and
go
then they
out
get
on a good
eliminated.
note. Yeah.
Yeah,
They should have been doing that from the start, though, so they wouldn't have to be going home.
true.
And they don't know the order of these runways, right? So it's like,
That's true, yeah.
it's so random.
But
Yeah.
they do have fabric in the workroom. And we've seen queens who have turned out a look with that fabric when like something went awry, maybe the look that they originally planned out didn't work out, or
Hmm.
somebody had a similar look that they didn't want to wear. Like we've seen queens turn out complete looks in the same amount of time. So I feel like that's like, yes, it's kind of an excuse to be like, oh, well, I already brought this, so I kind of have to wear it. But I feel like you could elevate it with the things that are provided to you in the workroom. And yes, I know not everybody's a seamstress, but that's their own damn fault.
Yeah, sure. I agree. Yeah. And then last but not least, we have Lana Del Rey. And
Oh, I
so
forgot.
this was not you forgot about Lana. You can't forget about the New York
Foreshadowing.
City Queen. Like you can't right. I'm like, you can't forget about the New York City Queen. But I thought Lana looked good. I like that she took the vampire look. I'm like all the way. I think if she wouldn't if it would have just been that black dress without the teeth, without the wig, right, and all the other stuff, I probably wouldn't have liked it. But I gave it a yes, ma'am. My only thing I would have wished to see it cinched a tiny bit more because I think that would exaggerate that waist and it would have been amazing. But I
What
love
waist? He has
the
no waist.
right, but I
It
think it would
was
have
just,
exaggerated whatever bones she had. I think it would have exaggerated that a little bit. And I love the front of the dress. I thought the front being that high and then coming down low, I thought that was amazing. So she gets a yes, ma'am for me.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's definitely a yes, ma'am. I think it's the most fabric we've seen on Lana so far.
mhm.
So it's different for her.
Yes.
And no,
Speaking of
but yeah,
that,
she
she
looks
always
beautiful.
says that though, Jhoany. She always says, have you noticed that she always goes, well,
This
this
is
is
a
a
very
different look for
different look
me.
for Lana. No, she doesn't say for me. She says for Lana. She refers to herself as Lana, which I think is kind of weird, but also like I feel like it's very on brand for Lana.
Yeah,
It's very third person. We love that.
checks out.
But if everything is different, then what is Lana? Like
Because you
every
know
time
she
she
don't wear
comes out,
clothes.
yeah, but like I feel like even when she does it, like she'll come out and she'll be like, "Oh, this is a very different look for Lana." Girl, then have we seen Lana for real then?
Yeah. Who is Lana? It's gonna be a yes fam for me. I love the drama of it. We definitely saw a lot of dark, like vampiric looks, so it got a little repetitive. I'm not sure if you saw too, but she did like a photo shoot with Jules, because their looks were very similar and they just look like very cohesive. So that was really cool, and it made me kind of appreciate both their looks when they were photographed together.
Yeah, it did.
I
It
felt
gave
like
like Jules was like the mom, like vampire, and it gave me that Lana was like her like sire.
Yeah.
And I said that because I'm also rewatching Vampire Diaries, so like all of the vampire terms is like fresh in my brain. So I'm like sire, it's like mom, and then it's like okay, great.
I was gonna say like I felt like it's kind of it looked like if they were created by the same fashion house.
Hmm.
Like you could see like if they were created by like if they were like sister looks. And I think that I saw the photo shoot and I think they looked really good.
Yeah, it's great. I love that. You know, I think it's different because this is a season, to me, in my opinion, that we're not getting a lot of like the photos of the runway, like after the season is, like why it's filming. Before we always would get like a photo shoot of like the runways, but it doesn't seem like all the girls are doing like photo shoots of their looks. We have the Sams, the Jules, Lanas. I think it's the ones that have like drag families because they all can pitch together and pay for the photography for those. But I don't think every other like all the other queens is doing the same things. And then, so based on the judges' critiques, we see that Susie Toot, Jules Sparkles, Sam Star, and Anya Nerve are in the top, even though they gave Anya this weird critique by Jamal, about that she couldn't get the choreo and the rehearsals. But in my opinion, I'm like, but she got it where it counted, so she should be fine. So I guess in a weird way, Anya was like a high safe, but yeah, she was still in the top. So
I kind of felt like when they were doing the rehearsals that something was gonna happen when it came to Anya because of that specific moment when I think it was Jules that brought up that like Anya's the way Anya speaks doesn't always come off very pleasant. And then they like cut to Anya's face and she looks very upset about something. but you never get to see her say anything catty or anything rude to. Ooh, I forgot his name.
Jamal,
Jamal.
Jamal, sorry.
Daddy Jamal.
Yeah, so it felt very forced, Daddy Jamal. Yeah, I can't believe I forgot his name. But like it felt very forced. So in that moment, I'm like, ooh, they might put her in the bottom. It felt like it was coming. I'm so glad that wasn't the case. But I feel like that critique was bullshit. Like, who cares if she did not get it during the rehearsals? Like, she absolutely killed it when it mattered. Like, she was my
Yeah.
favorite of the night.
I agree. I think also too, like she had hard choreo, so also just like give her props. I think because she hasn't gotten a lot of negative critiques, period. I do think that was a little like editing, like is she stumbling, But like she was still in the
Yeah.
top. She was, top 4, so she did great, and she was honestly one of the most memorable. And yeah, she had a lot of choreo, and it was really fast, intricate movements that not everyone dealt with.
The way
Sure.
she toured around that stage, like, it was like she was floating. It looked really good.
My only question is, because some of the wardrobe choices were questionable. So I'm like, hopefully that was the wardrobe that was provided to them and not the ones that they chose. Because I'm like,
I'm glad you brought this up because I also meant to say during the Rusical, like, love them. And yeah, because especially they didn't know what their parts were. So they bring in like wardrobe essentially for them to wear. But some of the looks were busted. And I'm not exactly one to talk. I'm like an Amazon Prime queen. I love piecing shit together. But like these looks were straight from Amazon Prime. And my worst one was Susie Toot. I thought it was so bad. It was just this like random black skirt with like green tights, and like some of them were rough.
Girl, that costume department got some budget cuts because that was rough. Like you said, that was rough.
Yeah.
I really didn't like Anya's look either, honestly.
And they were all in bodysuits, which like I can't help but just be like, oh my god, is Michelle like rolling her eyes that literally they're all in bodysuits? And
But
again, they don't know who's going to be who, so they have to stitch together everything like and fit it really quickly. And I
yeah.
feel like obviously that's not a reflection of the queens, but it took me out of it a little bit because some of the outfits were a little rough.
Yes. Because I thought like the judges was going to say something about it. So when they said that, when they started talking about Anya's critiques, I'm like, maybe they're going to talk about that orange and that purple that Anya was wearing because that was a choice. But they did it. And
Definitely
I was like,
not her
okay,
choice.
so
Yeah.
I was like, that wasn't Anya's choice. So, okay. And then we had Lana Jarre, we had Arietti and Lexi Love. That was a safe group, which automatically meant that Corey King and Acacia Forgot were the bottom 2. And we see that Sam Starr ends up winning the Rusical, which brings her into the 2-win club with Susie Toot and Anya Nerves, making her the new frontrunner. Even though Anya, based on track records I've seen on like these Instagram pages about Drag Race, Anya still is the frontrunner of the season, still has the best track record. But Sam Starr becomes the 3rd queen with 2 wins, which is also a first for like
I
a
don't think
season
about,
like
yeah.
this.
I was about to say, like, I feel like we've never seen this much of a tie in terms of front runners this early on in the season. Like, I feel like
Right.
there's always one queen who maybe like gets like 2, 3 wins right away, and then everybody else kind of has like one until like the later half of the season. Having 3 queens with 2 wins at this point in time feels like they're finally like trying not to like let us know who the winner is right away. Like
Correct.
they want it to be suspenseful, which is great because I think it's boring when we know who the winner is going to be.
Yes. Yes, I hate a Sasha Colby season. Like when I know like who is winning right off the first episode, it just takes me. Obviously, as a a podcaster, it makes great television. So we're like,
Right.
yes, but as a viewer, it's like really like I already know who's winning this. Like, can we get a little bit of competition? So, but
Everyone
yes,
in
I
the
agree.
workroom knew Sasha Colby was winning the second she entered.
Nitro
Right,
right away was like, well, I'm packing my bag. Like, what am I even
Right.
doing here?
And she came in second.
right. Right. So, all right. And then we see that Acacia Forgot and Corey King, they are the bottom 2. And so they have to lip sync to Wet Dream by Adam Lambert.
Is this the first time we've had a top 4 and a bottom 2?
I think this season.
I think so.
Right?
Yeah.
This is like, they're doing some unprecedented choices when it comes to
Yeah.
like tops and bottoms.
But
which
I
is interesting.
also don't
It's
think
interesting.
it's I don't think it's the judging. I think it's the queens. Like honestly, I think it's just like even for Snatch Game, there was 3 of them that were good, and the rest of them were like meh, right? And so
Mhm.
this one is like there were 4 that were good, and the other ones were safe or didn't show anything. So I just think they just make it easy for
But like in
the
Snatch Game, there
judges.
was like a top four and like a bottom three. So like I'm liking this because it's something different. It's a way to kind of revamp the formula that we've had for 16 seasons. So I like it. Yeah, it kind of makes it unpredictable.
It
Sure.
was really entertaining too, seeing the queens in Untucked like try to predict who was the top, because they were thinking like a rigid top 3, bottom 3. So
Yeah.
we also saw those like mind games come into play because they were all kind of willing that Susie Toot was maybe going to be in the bottom.
Yeah.
So that was really entertaining to watch because, they didn't know that it was going to be like a top 4, bottom 2. But yeah, I like when they kind of do that. It keeps the queens on their toes and like the viewers too.
Susie
That's
was ready to fight when she walked in that room.
When
She
they
was
had
like,
the dance
in the
moms
bottom, in
pyramid
the
and she saw
bottom.
that. I, s- I mean, I love Susie too. And yes, I think sometimes, we're dealing with drag queens here. Like, of course, some of them are all going to be Delulu, but they are kind of like shitting on her a lot. And I'm kind of like, okay, y'all, like, there's other queens who have 2 wins, but I think they just love to hate her.
I know, you know why it is. I think it is. It's because she reacts. Like
Mm,
she gets mad. And as somebody who grew up with siblings, like I love pissing my siblings off when they get mad. Like if they don't get mad, I'm just like, then what's the point of trying to piss you
right.
off? So I feel like it's kind of like a similar thing. Like because she reacts and she kind of goes back at them. Like I
Yeah.
think that's why they do it.
She
I
does
think that,
give them like the reaction that they want. And
yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
girl, just maybe shut your mouth. You don't got to clap back because clearly they're all like trying to play mind games with her. It's just so funny to watch.
It is.
Susan too. So, what did we think about the lip sync? I'll let y'all go first because I had thoughts. So, whoever wants to go first about the lip sync, please let me
Why
know
do you
what you
go?
thought.
So I thought it was going. I thought it was a good lip sync, especially compared to the ones we've gotten this season, which I feel like there have been some good ones, but most of them have been kind of meh. This is the best we've seen Corey so far. Like that energy she gave was what I've been wanting from her all season. Was it a great performance? No, but the girl was trying. She was trying. She was giving tricks. She had high energy. I did not like Akasha's energy for the song. We know she can't dance, so I guess she was doing the best she can. But what was an absolute no ma'am for me, which was funny at the moment, was that wig falling off. The way the wig fell off had me giggling because it just like rolled off. So like I thought it was like really funny the way it rolled off. But girls, glue your fucking wigs.
It wouldn't be a lip
Glue your
sync.
fucking
It
wigs.
wouldn't be a season 17 lip sync if a wig wasn't coming off. And that does not matter. In fact, that's celebrated this season. I mean, to
Have
be
you?
honest, I personally like, and I'm not someone who does like drag on the regular, but like, I personally don't give a shit if a wig falls off. Like, it's how you deal with it and how you react to it. I think that's what makes it special or flop. Like, that means you're going for it. So, like, great, like, let the heads roll. But personally, for me, yeah, this was just such a clear winner right from the start. It's such a high energy song, and Corey was really bringing it. She did every kick imaginable. And I guess I feel for Acacia a little bit because she wasn't in an outfit that made her like be able to move easily to match the energy of the song. But also, I'm kind of like, that it's going to be a high energy Adam Lambert song. Like, you should prepare to like take something off so that way you can move more. I do like that she tried to do kind of like a little bit of like a strip tease with it, with her gloves and then dissecting the wig, which was cute. But it just ultimately wasn't enough for, Corey, who was dancing circles around her.
And what I really liked about Corey was that like that 4 kicks into the split I thought was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that was the moment the wig popped off. But again, I
Listen,
thought it was really funny the way it just like popped off, and then Lydia's comment being like, "I told her to glue it, but she don't listen. She don't listen." And rewatching it, you can like see down the like even before the lip sync through the runway, like her wig is like coming off. Like you see the lace like lifting by her ears.
she
Like she
must be a
really
sweater. I bet
she
she's a
must be, but
sweater
she really like right before the lip sync, like she should have like put more glue on that bitch.
balloon.
Yes. So I had mixed emotions throughout this runway. I think I went through the change curve. Like I was like, so, I was angry. Then I was like, I'm in denial. Then I was like, okay, I'm accepting this. What's happening right now? Like it was just a lot for me. So at first I was going in for Corey. Like I was in this room screaming. I was giving Corey so much life. I was like, yes, she's giving everything I need. This is the Corey like I thought that she was going to bring. And I'm like, yes. And then that wig came off and I was so angry. Like, so angry. Because it would happen in 2 episodes, like, back to back. And I'm like, wow. Right? Because if you think of, like, old school Drag Race, as soon as that wig would have came off, like, that would have been ultimate chop. But we're
Ru would have
seeing
stopped looking
that
at you.
season 10. Yup, Ru would have stopped looking at you. Like, you would have, they would have been slow motion. You probably would have seen the girls in the back, like,
We would have
right?
hit
It was
go.
right, all of that. And you would have known that queen right there, she's got, regardless if the other girl is good or not in this lip sync, that wig came off, she's gone. But we are noticing that these last couple of seasons, that you can take your shoes off in a lip sync, and we've discussed that you should not do that. And that's what Acacia did. And I was like, Acacia, like, you had to keep the shoes on, right? So shoes can come off in lip syncs, that's all right. Wigs can come off in lip syncs, that's okay too, as long as you recover and put it back on your head. And so I got to give them points for that. Like, that wig plopped off. Plopped off. The stage is collecting wigs like Pokemon, okay?
Gotta catch them all.
The stage has got to catch them all. And Lydia, I think what made me like that was Lydia's commentary. Like, I told her.
Funny.
Like, I told her to glue it. Like, she doesn't listen.
It felt very, like, wifey of her. Like, to
Girlfriend
be like,
energy.
I told my husband, but he don't listen. Like, it felt very that. So I think that's what made it funny, that it came from Lydia.
Yes.
So funny.
Yes. Yeah, but all in all, this was a good lip sync for me. This was the Corey King that I wanted to see in the beginning that I have not saw yet. And like I was expecting with buttons, but then they did the Snoop Dogg version and I was like, that's a choice. So like this like do-over, I guess. I wouldn't say redemption because she's back in the bottom. So it's not redeeming yourself. It's just her being in the bottom. So
I think too, just Corey's the better TV. Like she's the better choice.
Fully.
She's a producer's dream. Her talking heads are so funny. I mean, what I love about Corey King is she's not taking herself so seriously. You know, she's like the complete opposite of Susie Toot. She is just having fun with it. And to me, that's making me have fun watching her. I don't care if her looks are like cheap because like if you bring her performance, I don't know, like that during the lip sync, then like you can do whatever you want. And she's bringing the comedy. She's having fun with it. We're also just like Acacia, I feel like we got what we saw from her. She was like taking herself very seriously. She was just like in her head a lot. I also have to say too, just like while we're talking about her, I just think it was so funny that she kept being like, my grandmother died a year ago. I'm like, okay, are you the first person to lose a grandparent? Like, why is this part of your storyline? But I think she was really kind of grasping at straws to like have a little bit more of like a character journey on Drag Race because ultimately like we weren't getting a ton from her. I think we like saw what we were gonna get.
I think she forgot to give us personality.
Acacia forgot.
Acacia forgot to give us a personality.
Oh, maybe that is her personality.
Ooh, sorry, girl.
I mean, I don't know. Because I feel like I've been seeing her on social media and I feel like I have found her posts funnier than like what she has presented on Drag Race. But kind of going back to what you said about Corey, not everybody's meant for Drag Race. Not everybody, like, it's not a reflection of their drag, but some people are just not good at Drag Race and they're a lot more successful post Drag Race. And she might be one of those queens.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think so. So we ask this question all the time, but who's winning season 17?
I think, I want to say Anya. Anya's really won me over. But I'm also kind of getting some PTSD from last season when like Saphira was doing really well and like dominating, and then at the end it was like, oh, never mind. So I'm kind of scared to say like that I want Anya to win, but if not Anya, I would love for Jules to win because she has really surprised me this season.
I was gonna say, like, I've just become so team Jules. I love her.
Same.
She's also just so likable. Like her little like isms in the workroom. Like when she was saying, like, "Oh, piggy, let's eat." Like I use that all the time now. She's just so likable to me. So from a personal standpoint, I'm rooting for her just because I think she's so likable and I love a little bit of a good underdog who deserves it. I really do love Anya, and I think Susie Toot are kind of going to be like the top two to watch.
Right.
Who do you
I
think
have
is
to.
gonna win? I mean, we know you think Sam is gonna win.
Yes, like I think Sam is taking it home, and at first I was like Anya, but then after watching this episode, like the Rusical, like and just to see how Sam was like volleying with the judges, that to me I was like, she's probably gonna take this. Like they wouldn't put this in if she wasn't either gonna go far or like she wasn't like a contender for the crown, right? Like they wouldn't put this in. They wouldn't make it such a storyline for her to like wake up. Before it was like, oh, you're a pageant queen, like you just need to shake it up. But no, they are intentionally making sure that Sam's like personality shines. So
It feels kind of like the edit they gave Trinity in season 9.
it does. It really does. Which makes sense.
Yeah. Do you think she is taking the note well to just like ease up and have some fun? So it'll be interesting to see this like Sam Star 2.0 now that she's like released her butthole a little bit.
Right, I know. But also, like, I am just confused as to why they're like saving Lexi Love. Right, like she's been put in the back. And I'm like, it's not because her looks is not good or her talent is not there. So in my head, I'm like, a part of me is like, are they just saving her for like the last, like the other half of the season? Because we still have a majority of a season left. So is she going to come alive in like the later part of the season? Because you can't give me alter ego. You can't give me that lip sync on the second episode and then like not give nothing else. Like,
and the roller skate, like let's not forget the roller skate. That was like my favorite of both of the talent show weeks. And yeah, she has just kind of like faded into the background. To me, I'm betting on her personally for Miss Congeniality, especially just seeing how everyone kind of like looks up to her a bit. That's kind of like my bet. So I think we're gonna see her like be like top 5 or 6, but then probably go and I'm betting she's gonna be Miss Congeniality.
I can see that. I can see that. Which sucks because that means she's not going to get the crown. Because I was really rooting for her when the season started.
She was
I
my
was like, oh
number
my God,
one.
Lexi. And then, like I said, she's kind of plateaued, which is not always necessarily their fault. It kind of based on the judging and the producers. I'm really hoping she picks it up later in the season. And I hope both her and Jewel start getting some wins.
Same.
Yeah, same. I definitely want to see. I want to see Jules in that 2-win club. I think she deserves it, and she's come so close many times. You know, like the snatch game was great. So yeah,
and I think it would also be really. Sorry, I was gonna say I think it'd be really fun if like her and Lexi get in the 2-win club, and then we have 5 girls with 2 wins. Like that's unprecedented, and it make for really good TV because we don't know who's taking it at that point.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at what like the queens that's left, right? And then you look at Drag Race in terms of like categories, we still have girl groups. We have not had a girl group challenge yet. And they always do like a girl group challenge. We always have like a makeover. We haven't had a makeover challenge yet. And then a roast. They always do a roast. But those always come like at the ending of the seasons. But we still have those. So there is still time for the queens to like to be good in one of those like different like categories.
Yeah.
Because
next week is I think next week is another design challenge, right?
Yes, and the reading challenge.
Oh, great. Okay, great.
Oh my God, the library is going to be open on Friday?
Yes, so like I was like when I was watching last week's episode, in the description for next week, it said after the reading challenge, the girls are tasked to blah 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 blah. I was like, oh my God, yes, I'm so excited for this. I hope it's good.
It's a Betsy Johnson runway, right?
That's right.
This Friday, Betsy Johnson.
I live for Betsy Johnson. I have so many Betsy Johnson earrings because I love wearing her earrings for the holidays because they're so dramatic. So I really hope they don't fuck this up. I will be so mad if they fuck this up.
Yeah.
Part of me though is like, I mean, it's another design challenge, so Arietti's gonna stay again because she's
that's what I was saying.
Designer.
Like, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, there's a lot of design challenges in this season for a season with girls that really don't know how to sew.
Yeah.
So I think based on track records of a design challenge, I think we may have an idea who's going to be in the tops and who's going to be the bottoms, just because the queens that's left, we know what they can do. Like literally, like we've seen them be able to design and then we've seen them not be able to design anything. So we know. Well, I mean, that brings us to the end of the episode. So, Corey, thanks for hanging out with the besties.
Thank you so much for having me. It was such an honor, and can't wait to kiki with you guys again at Hardware for Fantasy Fridays with our dolls, Izzy and Jasmine. Always so fun. And yeah, also if any of you are in New York City and want to come see Slut Bop on Thursday night, 8:30 at Red Eye with the amazing Dev Doe. Again, we're raising money for the Ali Forney Center. Trans youth needs our help now more than ever. So really just happy to kind of give back to that community and also just have some giggles, and you'll hear some sickening live vocals. So I know I was shitting on Anya a lot, but you'll see why on Thursday.
Girl, I
Love
hope
that.
so. Girl, if now I'm gonna come to
Love
you.
that.
If I go and I see you giving worse
Yeah.
vocals than Akasha, I'm gonna be there like,
No, I could walk the walk, I swear.
no, I believe you. I believe you. I'm just messing with you. I believe you.
Love that. Well, I mean, if you enjoyed the shade, if you enjoyed the laughs, and if we had you saying no, ma'am, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a single episode of No Ma'am. Follow us on Instagram at No Ma'am the Podcast. And if you are listening to us on Apple, Spotify, or iHeartRadio Podcast, rate us 5 stars and comment. And as always, we'll have you saying No Ma'am in no time. Bye.
Bye, y'all.